Welcome back to my channel! Today, we'll be discussing The Boy Who Stole from the Fairy Lake by Sudong. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button now and get your BL Library card for the BL Library. Before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want me spoiling this manhwa, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. For those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to blood, theft, violence, unofficial adoption, child abuse, child neglect, PTSD, sexual assault, social gap, sexism, misgendering, attempted kidnapping, attempted rape, ableism, chronic illness, self-deprecation, child abandonment, forced birth, forced marriage, confinement, animal death, pet death, classism, animal cruelty, death, attempted murder, self-harm, arranged marriage, not between the main couple, breakups, also not between the main couple, parasomnia, mentions of war, mentions of plague, ghosts and hauntings, body shaming, specifically commentary on weight loss and eating, age gap, bandits, implied male pregnancy, power imbalance, homomesia, blackmail, bullying, harassment, mentions of hit and run accidents, and excessive drinking, as these things do appear in the manhwa. But if that's okay with you, let's go and get started. Hyoshin is a runaway, an adult runaway, but a runaway nonetheless. He hails from a noble family, but he just doesn't fit in, so when he gets the chance to buy his way onto a boat and escape, he does just that. Unfortunately, due to his privileged upbringing, Hyoshin has a tough time surviving out in the wilds of this foreign place. But luck shines upon him when he happens upon some clothes waving in the wind on a tree branch. Needing some new clothes, Hyoshin wastes no time to snatch them up. But just when he's thanking the gods for the stroke of luck, he finds a pool of water where a beautiful naked man is bathing. The man's name is San, and he isn't alone. His 7 aunts, fairies, are also bathing in the pool, and as it turns out, a thief has been stealing their jewelry while they're in the bath. San is immediately suspicious of Hyoshin, his appearance being far too convenient as things are being stolen. Hyoshin is quick to claim his innocence, but also quick to beg for help from San. San lives nearby, and having spent far longer out in the cold than he would like, Hyoshin wants nothing more than to stay with San for a while. San is hesitant, untrusting of most humans as a half-fairy himself. However, after some gentle pressure from his aunts and pitiful pleading from Hyoshin, San agrees to let Hyoshin, who introduces himself as Chung, stay with him. Things start off rocky between the pair, but over time, they find that opposites do, in fact, attract. But Hyoshin is still a runaway, and his brother is right on his heels. As Hyoshin knows, his brother will stop at nothing to get Hyoshin back, dead or alive. Unfortunately, the art starts super rough. It's very inconsistent, and I'd even say it's ugly most of the time. That is until the second season. Then we get a massive upgrade. It's still inconsistent occasionally, but Chonga is absolutely stunning, and I loved that the creator confirmed that he's a top. It really doesn't get super consistent until the very end, so if you're looking for perfection, this isn't it. It has a lot of character though, and has some truly stunning panels, especially later on, that I think are worth seeing. It's just unfortunate how much poor art you have to get through in the beginning to get to the fantastic art later on, but it's really worth it, I promise. It's also unfortunate how much the names change. I've seen this in a few other titles, and it's so confusing when multiple spellings of the same name appear throughout the work. Hyoshin's name sometimes appears as Hyosin and Hyoshin, and Bumryung sometimes appears as Bumryung or Bumryeung. Either one of them could be correct, but I just don't know, and that makes reading pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie, the first season was super meh. It's disjointed and rushed and just overall needless. The brother is hardly a villain before a tiger takes him out in the most anticlimactic way. The romance between Hyoshin and San is rushed, and it feels like the rules change all the time. First, it's the earrings that would make him be a fairy, then it's the fairy clothes, but the fairies end up only taking his earrings. It just doesn't make much sense. But then we get to the second season, and holy shit, the tonal shift is great. The story is well thought out and well paced. It does an amazing bait and switch. There were even times I cried. Once again, I didn't see why we needed the first season when the second is so powerful and strong on its own, but then the second season ends and we see how they're tied together, and it's a pretty weak link, but I can't help saying I love it all the same. What I especially adore about the second season is the flashback arc. Chunga is a long-lived deity with the unfortunate power to show humans how they'll die by touching them. He's tried numerous times to develop relationships with humans, only for them to spiral from knowing their fate. One such time ends with the death of a couple, leaving a child orphaned. Though he knows he shouldn't, Chunga can't help but feel responsible for the child, so he raises him. This sets us up to believe that the child will eventually become the person Bumryung reincarnated from, which admittedly is an ick for me. I hate the pseudo-child, adopted child falls in love with their caregiver storyline. But then the child gets a dog, and the dog, from living with a deity, learns to talk, gives Chunga his name, and obtains a human form. As it turns out, he's Bumryung's past life, which I immensely prefer. This leads to a painful jealousy arc between Bumryung's past life and the boy Chunga raised, as Bumryung can become a deity and as such touch Chunga. I don't want to spoil this too much more because there are still some super sweet and painful reveals that I wish I could forget and reread to experience them again, and I'd like for anyone watching this review to get that chance if they're interested. This arc is absolutely everything and shows the most growth art-wise, so it's absolute perfection. Then, my favorite couple, Bumryung and Chunga, get a side story set in modern times, which is everything. This has some of the best art, features my favorite couple, and explores aspects of their characters we didn't get to see through the historical setting before. It's not super in-depth or anything like that, but it's a really lovely addition to the story that gives more time to the best people in the series, Bumryung and Chunga, but I'm a bit biased on that front. With all that being said, I think this would have been an instant favorite if it hadn't been for the speedy and haphazard first season. That second season just sits with you, and I have reread the flashback arc over and over again in preparation for this review, and I probably will continue to do so long after this goes up. Looking back, season 1 feels like it might have been created as an excuse to have the clever tie-in in the second season, which was more planned and thought out. As a result, the first season was rushed and messy with little to no direction so that we could get to the second season. As much as I love the second season's tie-in, I think this would have been much stronger overall without the first season at all and the tie-in. I still think you should read this for the second season, but the first season might be tough to get through. So, have you read The Boy Who Stole from the Fairy Lake? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know in comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!